and you are playing the unique place of a cardinal for the whole of the Telugu two states. We are very proud of you, Your Eminence, and I was in Rome when this announcement was made, and I was really happy that we finally have somebody from our state as cardinal for us. Not all states have cardinals, very few we have, and we are privileged to have him as our cardinal. And he was saying that he will not indulge in very heady sort of a presentation, but he is a man of the heart, and every word that he said appealed to our hearts too. And that's the purpose, as a man of the heart, appealing to the hearts of people who listen to him. Very appealing, and so I thank you, Your Eminence, for your beautiful, hearty speech. My dear friends, all those who are on the days, and other fathers, sisters, brothers, and sisters and brothers of the diocese, musicians of the Diocese of Hyderabad. I am very happy to be amidst you. Thrilled to see such a big crowd. We had in Tamil Nadu, in the year 1973, we had an all Tamil Nadu workshop like this for 1 week, not just one day. In 73 in Madras, it was a big show. But even then, for the whole, all the dioceses put together, there were not as many people. While just from one diocese, so many people to come together is such a thrilling experience, and I am very happy to be in your midst. And so let me proceed. I wanted to say a lot of things. We had one professor in philosophy. When he came to the class, any theme he took, he always said, I don't know where to begin and where to end. I know so much, he wouldn't say, but implied. I know so much about it, so I don't know where to begin, where to end, and so on. And there was a mischievous fellow, a scholastic, Jesuit scholastic, and he said, Father, start somewhere at the end. I don't claim to know much and so on. Anyway, I wish to present my presentation in two steps. The first step is I am picking up three moments in the church, in the Catholic Church down the 20th centuries, three important moments in the life of the church, and reflect about it very briefly. I will not, as Father Andrew would I can give class or like that. I am not going to do that, but very summarily, in a very brief way, I will present three movements in the church, and then see what the church opted for and what the Holy Spirit inspired them to opt for. And then the Vatican, the third movement would be the Vatican Council, and as a response to the council, how did the church or the Telugu church in Andhra meet the challenge of the Vatican II? There I will go into some practicality, not exhaustively. I'm not going to mention all names, all experiments, all innovations, but just hint how people were very earnest in responding. So that's the second part, the practical part, as Ravi said it, evolution of the music divine music in the Andhra church. That's the second part. The first part is the three moments in the history of the Catholic Church. The first moment is the Council of Jerusalem. I am sure all of you have heard about it. Chapter 15 of the Acts of the Apostles. And there, the church, after the descent of the Holy Spirit, how the church was struggling to cope with the situations, especially the opposition from the others, from the Jews who were jealous of the way the church was growing and how they were trying to oppose it, as they did with Jesus himself, so also with the church. So we see in the 14 chapters of the Acts of the Apostles, first 14, we see how the church was flourishing, growing, because the church was totally open to the Holy Spirit. Individually, collectively, as a group, whatever decision they made, whatever new thing they launched on, Holy Spirit was the hero. So much so, the Acts of the Apostles, the book of the Acts of the Apostles is also called the Gospel of the Holy Spirit, because it speaks about the Acts of the Apostles. It is basically the Holy Spirit's action. As Jesus, whatever he said and did, some of what he said, only not all what he said, are recorded in the four Gospels. In the Acts of the Apostles, it is the Gospel of the Holy Spirit, what Holy Spirit achieved in the church. So what was the happy side is the church is flourishing, people are willing to come, the Gentiles are also open to the church and they want to be like this and so on. As they are progressing, they experience a practical difficulty. What is the practical difficulty? They knew one thing and only thing, then they were all Jews. Jesus himself was also Jews. So they said, you become a Jew in order to be a Christian. If you want to be a Christian, become a Jew and then you become Christian. This was the struggle. Even among the apostles themselves, they didn't have clear idea. They were waiting on the Holy Spirit, what he would say, what he would inspire them. Some of them said, no. We must Judaize the Christian religion. They wanted to make Christianity or Christian faith a totally Jewish religion only, Jewish faith only, Jewish ways of living only, expressing it. While St. Paul, a man who vehemently opposed the church and church's ways before his conversion, now he says, no, don't put heavy weight on the Gentiles. Okay, this is the context of the first council. Very first council is the Council of Jerusalem. What is the issue they handled? Only one issue. What is the handle? What is that issue? Whether to Judaize the Gentiles first and then to make them Christians. That's what the fanatical Jewish Christians were saying, while Paul and others, they were saying no. And how do you settle? That is the Council of Jerusalem, in which the Holy Spirit touched the hearts of all the people who attended the Council of Jerusalem, and they came to a unanimous conclusion that we should not impose the Jewish ways onto them. Christian religion is not wedded to any one culture. It can reach through any culture. This is the conclusion. This is the Holy Spirit's inspiration. By themselves, they would not have come to such a unanimous conclusion. And once the Holy Spirit overwhelmed them, then they realized we cannot make Christian religion a slave of Jewish culture. Settled, spread like anything. The Gentile church was more numerous than even the Jewish church. Jewish church became a minority, and the Gentiles, and you see the various epistles of St. Paul and the journey of St. Paul and all that you see, that's after the Council of Jerusalem. In the second part of the Acts of the Apostle, till chapter 28, you see how they were going from place to place, and people overwhelmingly responded wholeheartedly. This is the first moment in church's life. This modern terms, it will be called anthropological crisis. Anthropology is culture. This science came into existence only in the 18th century. But an important aspect of human life, we are products of our culture. Just as we are individual, human groups are also unique. Each group will have its own, whatever its own heritage, whatever it claims and proud of as its own identity, that is culture. I am not going to give a big lecture on that. Culture is intimately related to faith. Culture is intimately related to belief. You cannot be a believer outside of your culture. This is the basic conviction that the church arrived at under the action of the Holy Spirit already in the Council of Jerusalem. Things were going at this level, though technically accepted that we should accept all the cultures and affirm them. The reality was not like that. I don't want to go into detail. I purposely take the Council of Trent. That was in the 16th century, nearly 1.5 millennium after. There, you know the context, with the reformers, like that. If the reformers say 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, or if the church says 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, the reformers will say 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. Exactly the opposite of what you say. If you say the faith is to be understood this way, they will say this is the way to be understood in our way. This is the gist of the crisis that took place at the time of Reformation. Once again, problem of culture, problem of human identity. With whom do you associate? With what do you associate your faith with? And that's what really happened. And then seeing that divided situation, the different churches coming up opposing the Catholic Church had to take a particular stand. It was forced to take a particular stand. What is that particular stand? Uniformistic approach. Everybody, anywhere you may be a Christian, anywhere under the sun, but every Christian has to do only this way, not any other way. Perhaps at that situation, it was needed, given the crisis situation prevailing in the church. Start with one language, Latin and Latin alone. All the other languages were there, but that you can speak it and practice it in your family life, house life, and like that. But in the church, only one language, Latin. Only one theology. Only one way of formation. Only one way of forming the seminarians, etc., etc. So, as a result of this, what happened? Everything Latinized. Everything centrally controlled. And we had the Pope after the Council of Trent. Council of Trent lasted 18 years, not continuously. There were breaks. It happened in three different periods. And at the end of it, this is the conclusion they came to. We must be a uniformistic church. Council of Jerusalem, unity in multiplicity, unity in plurality. Here, unity in uniformity, one form, uniform, one form. And so, Pope Pius V was a Dominican Pope. He very, very strong fellow, strong person as a Pope. And he insisted on this. He is the one who promulgated the Latin liturgy that we were, the Mass we were celebrating for 4 centuries till the Vatican Council. Even today, you get an idea of it in the 4 canons. The very first canon is the one, the long one, very long one, no? The very first one. And that was the one published, promulgated by him. Anywhere the church, anywhere Mass is celebrated or any sacrament celebrated, it must be only in Latin, and so on. All uniformistic ways and so on. This situation prevailed. Vatican Council I, 100 years before Vatican II, strong appeals were made in the thing. No, we should not continue with this 1-1-1, everything 1-1-1, everything in this, in the any Mass. I have served as a server boy, Mass serving. The prayers have to be said. Intra Ivo Atal Dare Dei, Adeim Kuiletrikat Yuan Tutamayam. That's what the altar boy must say. We did not know what they said. So we said, Intra Ivo Atal Dare Dei, Attagaru Mamagaru Potlarkunar. భాష రాదు, అర్థం తెలియదు, అందువల్ల ఏం చేస్తాం. Just to give an idea. And when the Council Vatican I took place, it was a very short council. Lot of political problems were there. The Italian states captured the papal area and so on. Just with one issue settled, the council got closed, so they could not attend to the appeals and the request coming from the local churches, the church below, in order to. They had to wait another 100 years. Thank God we arrive at the third movement, what I have chosen for our consideration, Vatican Council II. If only you know what all extensive preparations were done by the Church in preparation for Vatican II. The Pope was a very old man, John the 23rd, and yet the planning was so exhaustive, so overwhelming, surprising. They sent a questionnaire to all the dioceses. They had to fill it up, codify, and the codified report alone came to 12,000 pages under various aspects of the church. Various aspects of the church. And one of the important aspects is the liturgy must be related to life. The liturgy must be related to culture, the local culture, because every human group has its own culture. Outside of the culture, there is no way of expressing your faith, and hence worship as an expression of the faith, it has to be, of course, the modern word is inculturated. That's exactly they were saying. And all the things were collected and grouped under different heads. And the first degree, what is the first decree approved by the Vatican Council? Decree on liturgy, Sacrosanctum Concilium. This was the decree approved, first decree approved. And go through it, has 7 chapters. Go through it, my dear sisters and brothers. Your heart will be warmed up. It speaks about our life, the legitimacy of our life, our language, our culture, our expressions, our ways of doing things. Each group has its own style, and that is what is called the culture. And so, the whole decree says the church must be rooted and grounded in the real living reality of the people. And hence it has to be in its language, not in a language which is already dead long ago, except in the church, Latin. No. Council, again, it is the council that decides this way. So, the Sacrosanctum Concilium, the first decree on liturgy, sets a tone for the whole Vatican decree. All the Vatican decree will come in this line. Take local reality seriously. Don't put it in bracket. Take whenever it is convenient to you. Take it seriously, and the faith has to penetrate into the local life realities of the people and the church. This is the gist of the whole thrust of all the Vatican II documents, and this was spelled out in this. This decree was already released in 63. Already in 63. You know, John the 23rd was elected Pope at the age of 76. You know, an old man, physically also huge, and like that. But his heart was a golden heart. You know what he said? I feel young when I look ahead. I feel young when I look ahead. Old man, 76-year-old man, sickly man. My dear brothers, this is what we must see. And that is the Pope who wanted the church to be like this. Then came Paul VI, he died, and the second part was taken over by Paul VI, and Paul VI was a man of dialogue, open to people. He even met the group that was opposing the Vatican Council, the progressive move, the stand of that thing. But he, as a Pope, was a very reconciling man, very dialoguing man. He met them secretly, and then tried to assure them that all is intended for good. There is no selfishness or any self-interest for the church. It is the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. And then in this light, you go through the document. It's not a long document. I think 120 or 30 paragraphs only. It's very, very inspiring. The way it speaks about Eucharist as the high point of Christian life, and all the sacraments everything have to be celebrated in the vernacular, not in Latin, etc., etc. And I think that some father would be also speaking about it. He will speak more. The background I have given, you will understand. also what Father says better. Now, I come to, if this was the challenging message of the Vatican II, be rooted and grounded in your life reality. The two documents on church proper. This is called the Ecclesiological Council. Ecclesia means church. No other council dealt with it except this. And so the Lumen Gentium is a general doctrinal the thing. While church in the modern world, church in the world, in the modern world, the very title itself is enough to understand what the church wants. Church, who are you? What is your name? Why do you exist? It is not lord over the world, but to serve the world. How to be a servant of the world. The church is a servant of the world. This is the spirit that permeates. And hence, we have to take if you take Christian life seriously, you take your Christian situation also seriously. Your context, what characterizes the church of today. So in this situation, I have written a lot of things, details and so on. I will cut short of them and just only say a few things. Beginning, most of we had only 3 dioceses in the 19th century. By mid-90, there were only 3 churches in 3 dioceses in Andhra: Vizag, Hyderabad, and Nellore, as part of Madras Archdiocese. And so let us say, from 3 different angles, the church is coming to the center. Hyderabad this side, Vizag that side, Nellore that side. And as we move to the Vatican II, 3-4 more dioceses were erected, were like Guntur, Vijayawada, Varangal, and other dioceses. And all the other dioceses like Eluru, Khammam, the Nalgonda, Kadapa, they were all Kurnool, when my lord, the earlier period. I think just close to the Vatican Council. So that was the situation. So mostly at that time, the bishops were foreigners belonging to the congregations that adopted the region and developed it and so on. By the time we come to the Vatican Council II, the bishops, the foreign bishops have given over to the local bishops. So the sons of the soil became the bishops of the places. And so you could see the aspirations of people, aspirations of the bishops and the religious congregation, how the church should be, and so on. They were well prepared and they rejoiced at the Vatican decrees. All the Vatican document was so acceptable to us. And then only they begin to plan in a big way instituting the St. John's Seminary as a regional seminary, new seminary, which will exude the teachings of the Vatican II. That was a major step. And the seminarians themselves become the messengers of the message that the Vatican has brought about. Through the seminarians reach out to their dioceses and so on. And when you come to music, you will see the seminary played an important role. St. John's Seminary, in themselves Christian themes, And we had different groups all over Andhra who were doing this. So the church was a well-prepared, fertile ground for the Vatican Council's challenge to the Telugu church. And so they rose up to the occasion and they began to so many regional structures came in, like Jyotirmay, APSS, and the publication of Bharatamitra, and so many other things at the regional level with their respective diocesan level. All these were ways of implementing what the Vatican Council wanted. By 70, already the missal, from Latin missal, it was translated into Telugu missal, already by 70. And an important person, Father Neuhauser, played a great role. He was a seminary professor of liturgy, and he was very well aware of the developments in the Vatican II and Sacrosanctum Concilium, the decree on the liturgy. And in the spirit of that liturgy, he was trying to initiate and train the seminarians and send them to, like that. And Amritavani, in its line, was producing so many cassettes. Those days, cassettes, there were no pen drive and CDs and all that. It was a little later. So, the productions at that time, see, we didn't have anything. So, we were borrowing only from the Protestants, other churches. Most of our songs that we were singing before our people began doing it, they were all Protestant songs only. Ellapudu Devuni Stuti Inchudi. Ellapudu, is that a Telugu word? Devuni Stuti Inchudi. Ellapudu Ellapudu gada. The musical accent has to agree with the poetic meter. Ellapudu Stuti. I am just giving, I can give you any number of examples. That's the way we borrowed from Protestants. Now the Telugu church began to assert itself and came up with different thing. So the missal was translated, and we had the first version. Of course, it is improved and so on. Bishop Balasamy of Nellore was the Biblical Commission chief, and Father Anandam, he was the secretary. They were very much involved in that translatory work and so on, and they also translated the Holy Week to how to celebrate from liturgy point of view. That the text, liturgical text, they translated and they made it available and so on. The seminary, we had only one hymnal. What is it? I think it is Mokshavakili. That was the only book. It was also prayer book and song book. That was the book before Vatican. Then Daivarchana Kirtanamalika Ani, the seminary came out with a new hymn book, St. John's Seminary. That was a major contribution, and so on. Then slowly the dioceses began to compose diocesan versions of hymnals and prayer books and all that. Though initially there were some resistances. You must get the authority from the commission and so on. But it was a short-lived experience, and people began to, every diocese began to compose its own masses, various ordination or other functions like that. The diocesan versions came. So also the religious congregation, when they were celebrating the jubilee of their congregation or the congregation arrival to India, etc., whatever be the occasion, they, whenever they did it, they were also trying to bring out mass songs and all that. Maybe in that connection, too many glorias came into existence, both lyrically and musically. Anyway, at least the people were trying to give expression to their God. And there were some seminarians in the 70s. Some of them were very prominent and they have done in a big way. Father Govind Balasamy of Guntur Diocese, Gorantla Johannes, our bishop, the previous bishop, he was a seminarian at that time. And then Father Tumma Arla here, he was not a musician, but a good organizer, a good go-getter. To get around people and mobilize, he was excellent. Later, when we started in the 80s, when we started the liturgical, Holy Week liturgy, Arla was very useful. Like that also, Father Francis, who died in an accident of this diocese, and so on. We were all working together as a team. And then certain Martin, P.V. Martin, and so many, and a little later, Ravi Shekhar's own brother, elder brother, and Alexander, Father Innaya of Yelur Diocese. So many fathers who were in the seminary, either in the seminary or after their ordination, when they went to the parishes and so on, they began composing, training choir, and so field was fertile. And we had one Jesuit father, Father Vedaratnam. He doesn't know ABCD of music, but like Father Tumma Arla, I told you, he can get things done. So he brought two scholastics from Tamil Nadu. One father, he died just recently, Father Francis Brito, my own Konaves. He could compose music and so on. So he brought out what he called the Geetamrutam series. Geetamrutam, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, like that. Collection of songs translated into Telugu and notated. Because at that time, because of the old Latin songs and so on, the people could follow Western notation. So Western notated thing like that. So he also became a contributor. And Siramunu Manchudi Animanamu Tantu Merku Padaliga Partanam Veda, it was composed by this group. It was very popular, even now it is being used. Seminarians being sent to Panchmari and Madras is an important step, besides whatever thing the seminary was doing, to send seminarians for musical formation in Panchmari. Panchmari is in the north. They started after the Vatican Council teaching music, Hindustani music, to teach them tabla, to teach them violin, like that. Seminary, St. John's Seminary, every year sent certain number of seminarians for their training. It was a 3 years course, one thing like that. That was a very good initiative. So, if so many of the seminarians could play tabla, it's also because of that. In the year 1973, Father Chelladurai, a Jesuit, he started the music course in Madras. For the first year when it was organized, I was with him as a helper and all that. People from all over Tamil Nadu. But it was open to people from anybody. Seminary, St. John's Seminary regularly sent to Madras also, Panchmari and thing. It may not mean anything to you, but in those years, these were great milestones of evolution, according to me. Okay. We also published 2 gramophone records. We were doing it in Tamil. We have brought out 6 discs because otherwise it was always Protestants. Then 2 were we brought out in Telugu, sung by S.P. Balasubramaniam and Janagi. Paramesa Daya Sakara Apata Vinyunara. It was very famous in the 70s. At that time, it went as a good Catholic disc. It was brought out by us, and then also another one later. Father U.S. Paul, you might have heard of him. He was a Jesuit provincial. He died. He's a Brahmin convert. Some of his compositions were so precious, so touching the heart. From that only, Father Pakiraj brought out Najivitasha Anedi. Those songs were sung, things like that. Little later, he gave me Geetanjali, then I composed, and then we brought out with different music singers, P. Vasanta, Chitra, and a few other singers we used to bring out. Andhra also tried to have a summer music course. Amrutavani, it was done in the first year in 79. Very small number of students came. The second year, when they announced, only about 4 or 5 came, so they cancelled it. So, Father Govind Balasamy and myself went to Amrutavani and had a discussion with them. And then we said, would you be okay if we start it? We know how to go about it, and then they like that. They said, Father, please start, and so on. So, in the year 81 summer, we started the summer music school. Therefore, there were 34 students, seminarians, sisters, lay people, everything. And there was one good singer in that group, Deva Kumari. She has sung so many of our songs. Later, when we started the Holy Week thing also, she was one of the main singers. And Mr. Balasamy, he came for the music course with the shorts. He was still in the high school. And today he is very much in need. Balasamy is still sticking to Kaladarshini for the last so many years and so on. So, this is the way the summer course came into existence. Every diocese, not only the congregation, dioceses also started releasing liturgical songs, either cassettes or CDs. Father Marreddy, you must have heard of Father Marreddy in Vijayawada diocese. He was the director of the Catholic Center. He did a marvelous work. He had a recording studio in Vijayawada. Previously, it is the Protestants who had it. Then they closed down, and Father Marreddy started a studio. Lot of Christian songs were composed, liturgical and otherwise, and to be used for various functions. We ourselves, before our own studio came in Kaladarshini, we have used Father Marreddy. His service was very commendable. There was also a studio in Elur for serving a smaller purpose. Like that, people spontaneously feeling the need and the urge to do something new came like that. From 1980 to up to the present, if you take as a one long phase, the important event was the Holy Week liturgy. We formed a small group of people from each diocese, one or two. Either he should be a lyricist or a musician. That is what you call the Holy Week liturgy. We took up the whole liturgy under the direction of Father Neuhauser. We took it up. There was a full-fledged commentary, authentic commentary, and new songs were composed, recorded, and CDs were supplied. We chose certain number of dioceses, a certain number of parishes in each diocese. Not all parishes. Only 10 for each diocese. So nearly 100 parish we experimented. And after the first year, there was an evaluation. The people, the parish where they tried, they had to give a criticism, appreciating, criticizing, gathered them and reworked on them. The second year, the third year, 3 full years, we did it with the approval of the Liturgical Commission, Bishop Balasamy and Father Anandam at that time. And that was the liturgy that we prepared only for 100 parishes. At that time we had 10 dioceses, 100 parishes. Thereafter it was approved for the whole of Andhra and all the other parishes. Even now, if you go through the Holy Week liturgy, you will see our commentary, our songs, our booklet, and so on. That was a major thing. We at that time planned not only for the Holy Week, but take all the sacraments. For instance, baptism, celebration of baptism, celebration of marriage, even celebration of sacrament of the sick, not extreme unction as we used to call it, sacrament of the sick, like that, marriage, burial, all these we wanted to do it, but somehow various practical situations didn't allow us to carry on. 1990, Kaladarshini was started. I was also well aware of Kalaikaveri in Trichy. The director is a good friend of mine. We knew each other well. He started with starting music classes at the university level. I was against it. Not against it completely. Start with equipping our people. Let our people learn the various art forms. Either it is folklore or fine arts. And then introduce a college level, PG level, doctoral level, and so on. Not starting from the top to reach down. And so what happened, most of the people were, non-Christians, Brahmins and others who came and used, but we have not produced not many Catholic singers or something like that, or dancers. Our focus from the very beginning, our people should sing and dance and perform on par with the whole social grouping. No question of only this people will do this. No. It's a social revolution also, not only giving cultural formation. So, formation of our people. Okay. And so many other things were created, and due to scarcity of time, I close here. Some of the experiments that we did, I want to say, and that will be the end. We produced, Kirtana Malika, that is psalm singing, how to sing. The chorus will be in meter, and the stanzas will be like what is that? Free music. It's a new form. but unfortunately not many used it. So also Yesu Namavali. You know, the Hindus have the habit of, they have the practice of 1,000 names for God. With that, our Arvind's father here, Arvind sitting here, Stanley, wrote Yesu Namavali in Telugu and sung by one Mr. Prabhakar here and Sister Swarna, one of our students. But unfortunately, we react when it is slightly classical, semi-classical, something like that.